Welcome back to the channel, everybody. This is Nick with Idaho Up, and today we're talking about battery tenders for both the 24 Road Glide and the C6 Corvette. But with that said, if you're riding another Harley or you have a C7 or C8 Corvette, you might still find some details in this video that you find interesting, so stick around. The reason I wanted to do this video is because it's getting cold here in Idaho, and you can tell there's some minor snow on the ground. And we're just getting into winter, so take this with a grain of salt. But so far it's been a pretty dry winter. The roads are dry, which is cool for me because it allows me the ability to still ride the bike or drive the car if I want to. Before we get into the battery tenders, there is one last thing I wanted to talk to you guys about, and it's more of a thank you to you guys than anything. And that's because I just hit 1,000 subscribers, so I am monetized on YouTube. Let's be honest about that too. It's pennies on the dime at this point, but that's not the point. The point is that it still feels pretty good, and I'm grateful. And I just wanted to thank you guys for showing me some love and watching my videos on YouTube. So as long as that continues to happen, I plan on making videos. And I got a lot of plans for both the Harley and the car and some other things. But you know what they say, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. So we're just going to see how it goes. But from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys for supporting my channel. So let's get into this, starting with the Road Glide. Keep in mind, I did make YouTube chapters, so if you're here for the Corvette stuff, you can go ahead and jump to that now. If you're here for the bike, just keep watching. And if you're into both, you're in the right place. So with nothing else to be said, let's get into this. First off, we got to talk about where the battery tender plugs into the motorcycle when you first get it. And in order to do that, we got to remove the bags. And if you haven't seen my shorts video showing you how to remove the bags on the 24 Road Glide, I'll put a link to that right here. Go check it out. We also need to take the seat off. And if you haven't seen my full-length video on the seat setup on this bike, I'll put a link to that right here as well, so you can go check that out. As a matter of fact, I also just dropped a video for a seat lock for this seat that I think is a pretty cool option. So if you're looking for a seat lock, I'll put a link to that short right here. Make sure you check it out as well. Okay, we also need to take off the side cover. So put the passenger foot peg down, grab it with 2 hands, give it a good firm pull, and it'll come right off. Okay, once you get the cover off, you're going to find that the battery tender cable is actually hooked into this clip right here on the inside. Mine's not like that anymore. You'll notice that my line's coming up over this bar. Originally it runs through this spot right here under the bar and then clips into here. But I rerouted it because I didn't want to take the cover off and the saddlebag and the seat off. Hold up, I know someone's going to correct me. You don't have to take the seat off unless you're rerouting the wire like I'm showing you in this video. Every time I wanted to plug the bike in. So I recommend you reroute it. So just slide it up under that pole. You'll see it right there. And then you follow it and you'll see that hole right there. And that's where I reroute it, and I'll show you what that looks like on the other side. Okay, and this is way easier to get to. You can leave your seat on, your cover on, and your bag on. Every time you pull it into your garage, you can just plug it in. You'll also notice that I have this little zip tie going through those 2 little holes right there. And the reason I did that is so that I can hang this on it when it's not plugged in, and then I don't have to worry about it sitting on something hot on the motor when I'm riding it. It looks something like this. And there you go. Now I have it going through that zip tie, and when I put the cover back on the battery tender, this just acts as like a little security feature that just keeps it on that zip tie, keeps it away from anything hot on the motor. Haven't had a problem with it, and it works out great. So I recommend you reroute your battery tender cable like that, and then you can just avoid the headache of having to take everything off when you plug your bike in. Okay, so this is typically where my bike's parked, and my tender is actually mounted up behind the light right here. So I'm going to kill that light so I don't blind you. I have my light hooked up to a switch right here, which is handy. And then my tender's right there, and it's also hooked to a switch, which is handy because I can just throw that switch when I plug it into the bike. And then you'll see the wire just kind of comes up here. And I've got it routed over here to where the tender actually sits. And this bracket actually comes with the tender, so you can do something similar if you need to. And then you'll see that it runs this way, and I have it run right across here, goes through this hole, same thing, comes out that side, and then comes down here. And you'll see I have an extension, and that's because this is as long as the tender was and I needed some more length. So Harley does sell this as well. And you'll see I have plenty of line wrapped up there. And then it comes down here, and I just kind of have it hung up right here when it's not in use. And when it is, I just pull that out, and then I plug it into the bike. And I left enough room there that when it's plugged in, it actually hangs off the ground just slightly. That way, if I have any water or anything in the garage, it's not sitting in the water. So I'm gonna go ahead and plug it in, and I'll show you what the lights look like on the tender. All right, guys, here it is plugged in. You'll notice that it's a little off the ground. You don't want to throw the power until it's already plugged into the bike, or you could damage the battery. So it's plugged in now. We go ahead and throw the switch. You'll see it light up, and then you'll see it hit that first level of red right about now. And then don't be alarmed because it kind of just builds up to green. So we'll just hang out here for a second and watch it build up to that green light. There's a second red. As a side note, guys, if your battery needs more charging than mine did, it might take longer for it to reach that green level than it did for mine in this video. There's the yellow. And there's the green. And then you'll also notice the mode button and the lights right here. I've got it set to AGM because these new 24 Road Glides have AGM batteries, but you can also select normal 12 volt, lithium, and 6 volt. And that's it for the Harley Davidson tender. I will put a link in the description to both the tender and the Harley Davidson extension line that I showed you in the video. With that said, let's get into the Corvette tender. Okay, guys, first off, I got to point out that this particular charger has been discontinued, but I have confirmed that the new chargers for the C8s work both on the C7s and the C6s as well. So you may be purchasing that one. But these are still kind of available at certain stores online. So you'll notice 3 lights up top. The first one is an error light. The second one is that it's charging. And then the last one is that the battery is fully charged. And then this light just lets you know that it's plugged into the car. So I also have to point out that when I ordered mine, for some reason, they sent me an F-type plug, which wasn't a big deal to me. I just got on Amazon and ordered a converter, and that just plugs into that, and it seems to be working just fine. So, but I just thought that was weird because I know for a fact that I ordered the other style plug. And then this side, you just pull off that red top and you plug it into your car. On mine, because it's a convertible, the plug-in that you're going to use is the one in the center armrest. The cigarette port up front by the stereo does not work to charge the car. So again, just use the one in the armrest. On the coupes, you're probably just going to use the plug in the back end on the C7. And I don't know where it's at on the C8, honestly. I haven't looked yet. So if you know, let me know. Put a comment down below. And then again, I have a convertible, so I don't know if the C6 coupe has it in the back or in the armrest. So if you know on that, let me know again. Appreciate it. Let's pull the car back into the garage and we'll plug this in. Now you got to love the sound of a naturally aspirated V8 even when it's 100% stock. Okay guys, this is the setup on the Corvette, and we're going to start at the plug-in side. So we'll just follow the cord, and again I have it plugged into this surge protector, so it's on a switch. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off for a minute. And the cord is on the garage floor, but I do have where it plugs in sitting on a piece of wood, so if there's some standing water in here, it's not in it. Same thing with the charger itself. It's screwed into a piece of wood. And then you'll notice that it goes into the car. There is a little notch in the car doorway, so it looks like this is shut on it, but it freely moves, and I'll show you that real quick. So when you open up the car door, you'll notice this notch right here, and you just kind of slip it in there and shut the door, and then it doesn't pinch that wire. So as far as in here, it's plugged right into the car in the armrest. So I recommend you plug it in up here. Don't plug it in up here. It just doesn't work the same way. You can get it to work for a minute, but it's not great. I'd avoid that and just go with this plug-in. Also, you'll notice I leave that red end on. You can take that off if you want, but it doesn't seem to matter. It doesn't care if it's on. So I just leave it on, and then I just leave the center console open when it's charging. So one thing I want to point out is it's not turned on right now, and you'll notice that this is green, and that is actually reading that it's plugged into the car, not the outlet. So even if I unplug this, I'll just go ahead and do that, but it's turned off. So if I unplug that, you'll notice that that's still green. So that light is just reading that it's plugged into the car. Let's go ahead and plug it back in. And keep in mind that you don't want to turn it on if it's not plugged into the car, or it could damage the battery. So it's plugged in. Let's go ahead and set this up so when we shut the door, it doesn't pinch it. And then you can just kind of test that, and it should move freely like it is right there. So let's go ahead and turn it on. And you will notice that it is currently charging, and then when it is fully charged, it'll go green. But keep in mind, it'll kick back and forth as it takes care of the battery. And then this is an error, so if that's on, you got an error somewhere in the system you're gonna have to figure out. And I just kind of slide that so I'm not tripping over it in the garage, but it is in a place where when I come out and I'm walking to my other car, I can just check on it to make sure it's charging the car correctly. So that's the setup there. Moving on. And that's it for this one, guys. Now, if you want me to get into something in a video in the future, make sure you hit me up in the comments and let me know where you want me to head. This is Nick with Idaho Up, and until next time, keep up.